Alright, good morning everyone. So this is Monstacata Wygo. For those of you confused about how the name is said, I know I usually put up videos without any audio or any real life things, but I've been playing Dinomorphia recently. Went undefeated yesterday at locals, and so I wanted to show off the deck profile because I know this is a very popular deck that's coming out, and I know people want to see some of the better builds. There's a bunch of different ways to build this, but I found this way to be the best way for me to play this, and it really helped me out yesterday with a bunch of different decks. So, we'll start off with monsters, then we'll go into the one spell I play, then we'll go into the traps, which is most of the deck. But there are some interesting choices that I've made that I want to go over a little bit. So, like I said, we'll start off with the monsters first. So, we start off with 3 Therizia. Yes, I got the nice Starlight yesterday. This is the main starter for one of the main starters of the deck, besides the traps, obviously. You normal it, allows you to set, can't be ashed. Obviously, if the Imperm or Effect Veil are fine, but you'd rather them waste it on this anyway than anything that might be important. Like a Rexterm or a Kentragina. Next, we have 3 Diplos. I've seen builds at 2. However, I like 3 just to be able to continue to fuse off in case they banish one, or one of the hand traps in this deck. You really need to be careful with your resources. So this is very essential. I'd say 3 and 3 is probably the best ratio for these. Then for the last dinosaur monster we play 1 Miscellaneous Saurus. You can use this to prevent your opponent from either using the Imperm or the Effect Veiler on either these when you try to set or send to grave. Forgot to mention Diplos is a nice Foolish, so you can set an Intact if you feel like you're going to get attacked, or a Therizia if you feel like you want to start getting some into rotation. But Miss can prevent your opponent from doing things to your dinosaurs. So, when they try to take your Rexterm with talents, or when they try to blow up your Rexterm or negate it or anything, just throw this out in response, and they can't do anything. That's all the dinosaur main decks I play. I play 2 more monsters, really. I play a 2 of and a 3 of. So I play 2 Wannabe. Wannabe is very useful, especially in a trap deck. If you don't know what it does at either end phase, you can discard it, and then it excavates cards from your deck up to the number of unused spell and trap cards. So if you pull this turn 1, you're excavating 5, and then you set 1 trap out of all the cards you excavated. So in this deck, you rarely, ever, it's almost impossible to not hit at least 1 trap. So you always have some option, and we'll go over those trap options later, but you always, even if it's your turn 1 or even if it's turn 2, you want to set maybe a frenzy, or not a frenzy, a domain, so you could just go off on your turn. But yeah, very good option. And then the only hand trap I play, everyone's favorite, Dimension Shifter. Now, some people play Ash and they play Psychic End Punisher in the extra deck and everything. I don't like that option. I feel like Ash is very weak right now. This is the strongest hand trap. And especially if you go first, you go Shifter, and then you go Therizia, normal, set 1, and set 3 more or 4 more, or be 3 more, depending on what you have. And then tell your opponent basically to play under Shifter. Can't really do it. So in that case, you would set Domain, wait till your turn, and then start going into your plays from there. But Shifter just really stops a lot of decks right now. There's very few decks that play into Shifter, and those decks that play into Shifter, I just switch it out in the second game. If you're playing against Kashtira, then obviously different options, and I have different options in the extra deck, or in the side deck for that. So that's all the main deck monsters that we have. We'll go into the 1 spell that I play, which is 3 Duality. Now, I've seen builds of Prosperity, but I use my extra deck heavily. So, Duality is the best way to get a Therizia or a Diplos or a Wannabe or a Trap into hand without risking, your normal summon, because you really only need to normal summon on your turn. You don't really special summon on your turn unless you do Domain, but that's usually done during your opponent's turn. So Duality is great. Prosperity, again, you're burning extra deck cards, and I don't like to burn extra deck cards. So, and once you see my tech choices, you'll understand why I need my extra deck. But yeah, this is the only spell I play in the main deck. And then we'll get into the traps now. The rest of the deck is just traps. So if we count, let's see. I'm playing 42 today. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's 15 non-traps. So if I'm doing simple math, I think it's 27 traps I play. If I'm doing math correctly. If anyone can comment and tell me I'm wrong. But anyway, we'll go into the Dinomorphia traps first, and then we'll go into the other tech choices I've added. So we start off 3 Frenzy. Obviously, best one there is. Go straight into Rexstorm if you need to. And 3 Domain. Now, Domain is good. I like to use it as Ash bait, really, because they'll Ash the Domain, and then you can usually use your Intact on the Ash. So now you're already at 2,000 because you activated Domain and Intact and paid half for both. And then once you copy Domain with Kentragina, then you can go right into Rexstorm with 1,000. So basically they're done. And obviously Frenzy is a good choice to go into Kentragina also to use extra deck and save your main deck monsters. Intact is broken. Those of you that know that Senpai Dragon is going to be a big thing coming up, this prevents the OTK. This one card, all you need to do is negate one monster effect with Intact, and for the rest of the turn after that card is activated, all battle damage becomes half your life points at the time. So I played one game online, obviously, where Tenpai Dragon attacked me 16 times, and they still couldn't get my life points down to 0 because of Intact. So those of you that are scared about Tenpai next once it comes out in Legacy Destruction, Intact is your way to stop them from OTKing you, and then after that, I'm not really sure what they do, because I'm pretty sure it's a go second OTK deck. And our last Dinomorphia trap, I played 1 Alert. This is really for if they get rid of the Rexstorm, you can just Monster Reborn it right back. You can also, if they leave stuff on your board and you want to get some traps set up, you can always alert a Therizia or a Diplos in the grave. So if you have Therizia and Diplos in grave, you can just reborn them and then use their effects in the opponent's end phase, so that you have stuff set up for next turn. Or even on your end phase. Or no, it'd be your opponent's end phase. But great monster reborn. I only played 1 because I felt like I didn't really need it. It was usually a brick if I drew it first. So I'll usually swap it out. But it's a good option, like last resort. And I don't play Reversion or Sonic. I used to, but I swapped it out for a different card that I'll get into. But that's all the Dinomorphia traps, basically. Then we have 2 Soul of the Supreme King. I am playing the Zark package in this. I feel the Zark package is very, very good right now. And once I show you what I can summon off the Soul in the Zark, then you'll understand a little more as to why I play 2. I also want to keep this deck a little smaller, and I feel like 3 was just kind of a brick. You'll see in the extra deck, I only play 1 Zark and 1 Arc Ray. So having 1 for each is the ideal ratio. I feel like if I played 3, I would just have a brick card eventually, and I don't want brick cards in the deck. And we'll keep that to the side, actually, because I want to show you that. Then we have 2 Ferret Flames. This is the game winner for Dinomorphia as well, besides Rexstorm. It's basically, if you don't know what this does, it makes your opponent shuffle back monsters into their deck so that their attack equals the same number of life points you have, which in this deck is usually 500, 250, 125. I got down to 83 and 63. I've gotten down to 1, and then use Ferret Flames. And then basically, like, this kills Horus. This kills Snake Eyes. Like, just this card, shuffling back everything into the deck. What can they do after that? Like, they go through their whole combo and you Ferret Flames them, they're done. Game's over. So this, thought about playing at 3, but I have other choices for... And you don't want to draw it in your opening hand, because then they can't really send anything back. This is really a going first deck, but I wanted to play a going second option, so I play 2 evenly in main. A, going second option. B, can set it off wannabe during the end phase of your opponent's turn. So if they know it's evenly, then usually they'll try to pop it, and then you can save their pops for other things that they might want to, other things you might want to set. So if they know it's evenly, they'll get rid of their spell the spell destruction first for evenly, and then you can just set up and go. Let's see. 3 Imperm, most obvious one. Hand trap, monster negate, all that, very important. This is a trap deck, so obviously I'm not playing any other hand trap besides Shifter, so Imperm needs to be the one other hand trap I play. Then we have the negate and destroys. So we have 2 Iron Thunder, 2 Solemn Judgment, and 2 Solemn Strike. Monster summon or spell. So if they try to Harpies you Judgment or Iron Thunder. Iron Thunder just doesn't stop monster summon, which is why you have Judgment. And then Strike is also monster negate. So this can also stop Ash when they try to stop your domain, basically. So yeah, these are great counter traps. Thought about playing Reversion just because Reversion can copy any one of these. I just didn't find room for it, and once you see the other 2 cards I play, then you'll kind of understand where my mindset is. And Reversion has such a weird restriction with needing a fusion monster on field. I mean, normally you have it, but if you don't and you pull Reversion, then you're kind of stuck. Now, the last card I added yesterday before the tournament was 2 Typhoon. Now, this is a card that I don't think anyone really looks at. But for this deck, I feel like it's essential. So Typhoon, if it's set, target a face-up spell and trap and destroy it. Okay? Regular, whatever. If your opponent controls 2 or more spell traps and you control none, you activate it from hand. So as soon as your opponent sets up a second spell or trap or activates a second spell or trap, you can Typhoon them from hand turn 0. Okay? Where can this be applied? This can be applied end phase, Snake Eyes, pop the IP in the back. No IP for next turn. Okay? Voiceless Voice. If they set up the barrier and the trap, boom, kill barrier. They have no protection. What else? Centurion. Pop anything in the back. Or the field spell. Pop any of the traps in the back. What's another meta deck that this can be used against right now? I mean, Rika, I pop the field spell as soon as they set from the field spell. Just in case you see some Rika players. So this has a lot of applications, and like I said, it's a trap hand trap like Imperm, but for spell trap. So I feel like this was a very good choice, and I really messed people up with this yesterday. Playing against Pearly, I got rid of My Friend and their field spell. Playing against Lab, obviously, they would set stuff, and I would just pop before they get to end phase. Or anything they set off Chandelier or Chandralager or whatever, Stovey Torby. And then the other deck I played, Raised Typhoon, was... I can't think of that. But I thought about the applications for this, and I feel like this is a really good tech choice. Even if it's in the side, but I like it in main, but even if it's in the side, I feel like it's really good for spell trap heavy decks. Or decks that use spell trap protection, which is a lot right now. So that's the main deck. Let's go into the extra deck. Then obviously we'll start with the Dinomorphia stuff, and then we'll go into the others. So we'll go 2 Stealthbergia, 2 Kentragina, and 3 Rexterm. I feel like 3 Kent is too much. And obviously, Stealth Bergia is really just used for Frenzy. Haven't really summoned Stealth Bergia, but I'm going to keep it at 2 just to keep it as an option for Frenzy because I don't want to dump a Rex Term to summon a Rex Term. Or even a Kentrigina to summon a Rex Term because this can help you win games too if you just like summon this back out with low life points. It's at 39. You know, basically attack over anything vital. But yeah, I feel like this is the perfect ratio for Dinomorphia fusions. Then we play 1 Lagia and 1 Dolka. I think these 2 are very useful if you happen to use the alert, like I said earlier, to get a Therizia and Diplo. You kind of don't want to keep them on the field. So you can summon out a Lagia to prevent them from using a spell or trap or a monster. Or even a Dolka if you feel like they're very monster effect heavy. So this can stop the Ash, this can stop, you know, anything like that, and this can obviously stop like anything that they try to use to stop you spell or trap wise. Then we have our Zark package for the soul. So we have 1 Zark, 1 Odd Eyes Arcray Dragon, 1 Crystal Clearwing, and 1 Brave Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Now, I'm going to leave these 2 over here because I got to go into the side before I talk about those. So, Zark goes off Supreme King. Now, at the end phase of the next turn, it has to go back to the extra deck, right? So if you, I saw a guy at Regional do this. So if you summon Zark out, and they wait until so you're going to summon on their turn, obviously. They don't activate a spell because they don't want these 2 out. You go into your next turn. You have Arc Ray. Tribute Zark, go into Arc Ray. Now they don't have a timer, basically. The timer is gone. Now you have Zark on field all times for Soul to be in the grave. For Soul to be in grave to banish to summon out these 2. Now these 2 are very good. So Crystal Clear Wing makes itself unaffected by monster effects and it gains the attack equal to the attack of a monster that activates its effect. So a Flamberge, you get to 6k and it's not affected by monster effects. And it's also a spell and trap, negate and destroy, which was very useful in my online, when I play online. It's been very useful for when I go against Horus and they try to use the Horus spell to send, negate and destroy. And so the Horus, the King Sark is gone. They got nothing else, and they can't attack because Rexstorm has made them all like 100 attack. This is my hand trap stopper. And U-Bell. So this card negates the activated effects of all monsters with 0 attack. So what does that mean? So, no Ash, no Ghost Spell, no Veiler, no Mourner, and then U-Bell, no Spirit in battle phase, no U-Bell to special, no U-Bell Incarnate, no nothing. So, no Samsara. So this card by itself shuts down U-Bell, basically. And then I have 2 cards that I'm gonna save for the end in the extra deck because it kind of gives a little hint about my side deck. But we're gonna go into the side deck first, and then we'll go into those 2 extra cards. Let's just bring that here. Alright. So finally, the side deck. 3 Lava Golem. Voiceless Voice. Snake Eyes. Lab. No one can really deal with this card right now. And again, I don't need my special summon. I mean, do I need the normal summon? Not necessarily. I can just set traps and pass. I had one game where I drew 2 of these against Rika. Tributed, and then tributed again. And then he had 2 attack, and then I put him with an attack, and then used Rex Term for game. Lava Golem's very good right now, for this deck especially. You want to get rid of all their negates, you want to get rid of all their power stuff. Just, boom, right quick, done, set your traps and pass. Then we have, this is my field spell centered strategy is 2 Vitos. This completely stops Kashtira, completely stops Snake Eye, completely stops the new U-Bell that'll come out with the field spell. So we're going to have a lot of field spells coming out soon. 10 Pi has their field spell. So this will be very essential. And yes, I do have a nice QCR. Now, some people play Summon Limit. I like Deck Lockdown more. The reason is, even though Summon Limit is a good trap and I can set it off wannabe, I feel like Deck Lockdown hurts my opponent a lot more than it hurts me. Right? Can't add cards from deck to hand except by drawing. That means I can't use Pot of Duality. Fine. That's 3 cards out of my whole deck. Can't special from the deck. Can't special from the main deck. I don't do that anyway. So this card really hurts my opponents more than Summon Limit, which hurts me a lot more. And I could play Anti-Spell, but I don't like Anti-Spell. Then we play... This card really messed up my opponents yesterday. It was Eradicator and Deck Dev. Deck Dev, I played against a Pearly player. He drew 4 cats. I pulled Deck Dev, and he dumped his hand into the grave. This also stops all lows, stops all the Snake Eyes cards, and Eradicator obviously is for my Lab and Runic builds, because this deck does not like Runic, honestly. Then we play, this is probably going to change, I'm probably going to change this to 2 Lightning Storm, but I played a Lightning and a Feather Duster just in case. But I felt like Typhoon really did the job for me, so I might just change to 2 Lightning Storm just to get some monster destruction. Now I have this as a 1-of option. It's come up a couple times. This is like my Ferret Flames for when I don't have low life points. So we play 1 Waybridge. So basically, if they control 2 or more monsters, I make the opponent send monsters until they control 1. So that is basically where that comes in. Yeah, I do like it as a tech option. Again, this is Ferret Flames for when I don't have low life points. But otherwise, I would just play 3 of my next option, which is Waking the Dragon. Yes. Because this is a trap deck, people are going to try to pop your spells. So you let them. Sometimes you set 2 cards and you pass, and they got to pick the right one. If they pick the wrong one, that's where our last 2 extra deck options come in, which is Last Warrior from Another Planet and Naturia Exterio. So if they happen to pop these cards, these are our last 2 extra deck choices. If they happen to pop the Waking the Dragons, they're either not summoning that turn or not activating any spells and traps that turn. So that is the deck. Like I said, I went undefeated yesterday at my locals. This is the deck I'm planning on bringing to my regional Hartford on April 13th. I will obviously post updates and stuff when that happens. But for now, if you have any comments or anything, like the video, comment below. And yeah, we'll see you later.